Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and drop a like, because this drama is about to serve body swaps, sibling chaos, emotional damage, and enough secondhand embarrassment to last a lifetime. So our story starts with a girl named Sion. She's overweight, awkward, shy, and has about as much self-confidence as a Wi-Fi signal in the middle of nowhere. But despite all that, she absolutely loves singing and dancing. In fact, she secretly runs an online radio show where she never shows her face because she's terrified her fans would disappear the second they see what she looks like. Which is honestly sad because girl's personality is already carrying the whole show. After finishing her stream, she flops onto her bed and talks about her ultimate dream in life. Graduating from high school so she can lock herself in her room forever, eat snacks in peace, sleep all day, and avoid humanity completely. Honestly, for introverts, that low-key sounds like paradise. Suddenly, she smells food drifting through the house and immediately starts trying to identify it like she's a professional food detective. Wait, is that grilled chicken? BBQ? Beef? Turns out her family's having a barbecue downstairs, and the girl moves faster, for food, than most people move during emergencies. Downstairs, her parents completely spoil her and let her eat whatever she wants. Unlike literally everybody else in her life, they never make her feel bad about her appearance. They constantly tell her she's beautiful, no matter what. And while that's sweet, Sion still feels insecure deep down. At one point, she looks at the family photos hanging on the wall and starts complaining that life is unfair because every single person in her family is slim and attractive except her. And honestly, standing next to them probably feels like she got nerfed by genetics. Then we meet her twin sister, Shia. And wow, the universe clearly spent the entire beauty budget on this one. Even though they're twins, Shia is basically Sion's exact opposite in every possible way. She's slim, gorgeous, charming, popular, and naturally good at grabbing attention wherever she goes. Now vocally, she's not exactly Beyoncé, but her looks are enough to land her tons of modeling gigs and commercials anyway. At her company, there's also a super famous singer named Song. He's talented, handsome, and has enough fans to crash the internet. Naturally, Shia is completely obsessed with him. She watches him sing with hard eyes and keeps fantasizing about meeting him one day, or at least breathing the same air as him, for 5 seconds. Later, we see Shia practicing dance lessons while a reporter interviews her, and it's painfully obvious the other girls around her are jealous. I mean, imagine training just as hard as somebody else only for them to get all the opportunities, because they were blessed by the face card gods. Then Shia's manager suddenly tells her the company wants to film an interview at her house, and immediately, panic mode activates. Why? Because she's embarrassed of her own sister. Yeah, we're doing evil sibling behavior already. She quickly messages Sion and tells her to stay hidden so nobody sees her. She literally says people would mock her if they found out she had an overweight sister. Then, she takes down all the family photos with Sion in them, like she's covering up evidence in a crime documentary. Meanwhile, poor Sion locks herself inside her room until the interview ends. During the interview, Shia smiles sweetly for the cameras and talks about how supportive and wonderful her parents are. But when the reporter asks whether she has siblings, she lies straight to their faces and says she has an older sister, who is currently studying abroad. The girl lied so smoothly she deserves an acting award. Unfortunately for her, karma works fast, because at that exact moment, Sion suddenly gets hit with a brutal stomachache and desperately needs to use the bathroom. Apparently, the cabbage she ate earlier has declared war on her digestive system. She tries to hold it in, she really does, but her stomach basically says absolutely not. So she sneaks out of her room and tiptoes toward the bathroom, while Shia silently gestures like a stressed-out football coach, trying not to lose the championship game. Sion barely makes it into the bathroom alive, and by the time she comes out, the interview is finally over. That's when she confronts Shia and admits she heard everything. She asks why she lied and pretended she didn't exist. And Shia, she goes full villain mode. She straight up admits she's ashamed of Sion and says she wishes she would disappear from her life. Completely. That hits hard. Sion gets furious and starts imagining herself yanking Shia around by the hair and finally standing up for herself for once. Sadly, it stays in fantasy mode, because in reality, she's too timid to actually fight back. The next morning, Sion heads to school, and it immediately becomes obvious her life there is miserable. She has 0 friends. Everyone bullies her, laughs at her, and treats her like the school punching bag. As she walks through the halls, she keeps her head down and wears headphones so she doesn't have to hear people insulting her every 5 seconds, which honestly says a lot about how bad things have gotten. Then she sees a guy named John, and it's obvious she has a crush on him, but surprise, he's trash too. Instead of being kind, John laughs at her with his friends, like every other immature high school boy who thinks humiliation is a personality trait. Seeing him reminds Sion of something humiliating that happened a year earlier. Back then, she wrote John a letter confessing that she liked him and asking if they could maybe date, even for just one day, which was honestly brave. Unfortunately, one of her classmates grabbed the letter, read it out loud in front of everybody, and turned her feelings into a public comedy show. The entire class laughed at her, including Joan himself. And because Sion is so shy and soft-spoken, she couldn't even defend herself. She just stood there and took it. Back in the present, she feels completely hopeless and starts counting down the days until graduation, desperately wanting to escape school and never come back again. Meanwhile, Shia is filming another commercial with Song, but she keeps messing up scene after scene until production finally takes a break. Song walks over to his manager and admits he doesn't want to continue filming with her because she has no actual singing talent and only relies on her looks. Oof, that ego just took critical damage. Shia then sits beside him and tries flirting a little while offering to help him with the commercial, but Song gets annoyed almost immediately because of how arrogant she acts. He tells her bluntly that he hates working with people who depend entirely on their appearance instead of real talent. And then he leaves. Shia is devastated. The guy she's been crushing on basically roasted her career to her face and walked away like it was nothing. Meanwhile, Sion is outside playing with her dog when the little gremlin suddenly runs away. She chases after it all over town, searching everywhere until nighttime. Eventually, she finds the dog standing beside an elderly woman, collapsed on the ground. Without hesitation, Sion rushes over, lifts the woman onto her back, and carries her home. And surprise, surprise, the old lady turns out to be a witch. Because apparently this drama said, you know what, this story needs magic. The witch thanks Sion for helping her and says she wants to repay her kindness by granting her one wish. Sion obviously thinks this woman is completely insane, but she also figures there's no harm in playing along for fun. So she jokingly wishes she could become slim and beautiful like her sister, Shia. The witch hands her a mysterious necklace and says wearing it will make the wish come true. Sion puts it on but still doesn't believe any of this magical nonsense. Until suddenly, her stomach starts hurting badly. She collapses to the ground and passes out. At that exact same moment, Shia suddenly faints during dance practice too. And when both sisters wake up in the hospital, they find themselves lying in the same room, staring at each other. Their mom walks in and calls them by name. That's when both girls realize something horrifying. Their bodies have been swapped. Yep, Freaky Friday just entered the chat. The sisters completely lose their minds and start screaming in shock. At first, they think it has to be some kind of prank or hallucination, so they try everything possible to switch back into their original bodies. Nothing works. Then Shia notices the strange necklace and asks where it came from. That's when Sion remembers the witch, and suddenly everything makes terrible sense. She quickly drags Shia to the witch's address, hoping they can reverse the curse immediately. But when they arrive, the place is completely gone. Instead, there's only a sign saying the owner is on vacation for 1 month. 1 whole month, meaning these two are officially trapped in each other's bodies for the next 30 days. With no better options, they decide to secretly live each other's lives without letting anyone discover the truth, and without completely destroying each other's reputations in the process. Shia starts coaching Sion on how to survive in her body. She tells her to stop acting so nice because people see kindness as weakness. According to Shia, confidence means acting cold, arrogant, and slightly intimidating. 24/7. Honestly, terrible advice, but very on brand for her. Then she shows Sion videos of her dancing so she can copy her movements during performances. But when Sion actually tries dancing, Shia is completely shocked. Because Sion is insanely good. Turns out she's secretly been practicing singing and dancing alone in her room for years, without telling anyone. So underneath all those insecurities is somebody genuinely talented. Meanwhile, Shia asks how she's supposed to deal with Sion's friends at school. And Sion awkwardly admits she doesn't have any. Shia immediately clowns her for being a social outcast. When the sisters return home together, their parents are stunned, because it's the first time they've ever seen the two of them actually getting along, like normal siblings. The girls head into the dressing room and start helping each other pick outfits, while also exchanging phones so they can keep up the act. Then suddenly, Shia's phone rings. And because Sion is currently living in Shia's body, she has no choice but to answer it. It's Shia's manager telling her to come immediately for a commercial shoot. Shia panics and says she has to go or she'll lose the job. So Sion heads to the shoot while trapped inside her sister's beautiful body. There, makeup artists surround her, stylists pamper her, and for the first time in her entire life, she looks in the mirror and genuinely feels beautiful. And honestly, it's kind of emotional. People smile at her, treat her kindly, compliment her. Nobody mocks her weight. Nobody laughs at her existence. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Shia begins living Sion's life and heads to school in her body. And the second she arrives, John and his idiot friends immediately start making fun of her appearance. Shia is absolutely furious and wants to throw hands immediately, but she somehow manages to stay calm because the last thing she wants is to destroy Sion's life while trapped in her body. And honestly, holding back that rage deserves an Olympic medal. Meanwhile, Sion is completely overwhelmed by Shia's glamorous celebrity lifestyle. Everywhere she goes, people recognize her, compliment her, and treat her like royalty. The girl is basically living inside an Instagram fantasy now, but reality hits the second she walks into the rehearsal room and sees the tiny outfit she's supposed to wear for filming. Sion stares at it in horror and jokes that she's used to wearing clothes the size of camping tents and rice sacks, not something that looks like it was designed for a Barbie doll. Then things get even worse. She overhears Shia's so-called friends talking trash behind her back. They call her arrogant, talentless, and useless, saying the only reason she is famous is because she's pretty. And the crazy part, Sion still says nothing, because unlike Shia, she's not used to fighting back. When filming finally starts, Sion struggles badly with the choreography. Since she's naturally shy and nervous, she freezes under pressure and keeps messing up the dance moves. Unlike Xian, who thrives on confidence and attention. Sion looks terrified every second she's on stage. After the performance, she feels awful. Her teammates immediately blame her for ruining the entire group performance and making everybody look bad. And instead of arguing, Sion apologizes sincerely. That alone shocks everyone. Because Shia has apparently never apologized for anything in her entire life. Her teammates assume she's just pretending to be nice for attention and walk away annoyed. Meanwhile, Sion heads into the bathroom and starts crying alone, holding the magical necklace tightly. She whispers that she wants her old body and old life back. Which is heartbreaking, because just a few hours earlier, she thought this new life was everything she ever wanted. At the same time, Shia is fully taking advantage of being stuck in Sion's body. Since she no longer has to survive on salads and starvation diets, she starts absolutely demolishing every food in sight, like she's making up for lost time. Snacks, noodles, fried food, nothing is safe. Honestly, girl discovered freedom and immediately chose calories. She calls Sion to ask how rehearsal went. Sion admits she was nervous and scared, but surprisingly, Shia actually encourages her for once. She tells Sion to trust herself. After all, she's living in Shia's body now, meaning people already see her as beautiful and confident. Then Shia gives her surprisingly solid advice. She tells Sion to pretend she's alone in her room like always, singing and dancing freely without worrying about anyone watching her. And somehow, that really helps. Sion gets motivated by her words and promises herself she'll do better during the commercial. She takes a deep breath, gathers her courage, and realizes this might be the only chance she'll ever get to change her life. So when the performance begins again, Sion walks onto the stage with completely different energy. This time, she dances confidently, and then she starts singing. The second her voice comes out, the entire audience and production crew freeze in shock, because her voice is incredible. Powerful, emotional, and genuinely beautiful. Everyone stares at her like they just discovered a hidden superstar nobody knew existed. Even Song looks completely stunned. And from the expression on his face, it's obvious he's starting to admire her in a way he never did before. Once the performance ends, the audience bursts into loud applause and cheers. For the first time in her life, Sion is being praised instead of mocked. But of course, the universe refuses to let her have a normal moment. As she walks off stage, she suddenly trips on the stairs and nearly falls flat on her face. Thankfully, Song catches her at the last second like this is suddenly a romance movie trailer. He asks if she's okay, and Sion awkwardly thanks him while trying not to combust from embarrassment. Then Song walks onto the stage and starts singing himself, and Sion just stands there completely mesmerized by his voice. This is literally the guy she dreamed about meeting while hiding alone in her bedroom, and now he's standing right in front of her. Later, Shia's manager praises her performance, and even the same girls who were insulting her earlier suddenly apologize and admit her singing sounded way better today. Sion is so happy she could probably float home, and when she gets there, her parents greet her warmly and tell her it was the best performance she's ever done. But meanwhile, Shia is sitting there looking visibly jealous, because for the first time ever, people are praising Sion using Shia's face. And that jealousy boils over fast. In a sudden fit of anger, Shia shoves Sion straight into the water. Their parents are horrified by her behavior because they think this is sweet, quiet Sion acting insane out of nowhere. But obviously, they have no clue it's actually Shia inside her body. Right after that, Shia storms upstairs and tells Sion to come to the room immediately. The second Sion walks in, Shia launches a pillow at her like a dramatic reality show contestant. She angrily asks why Sion sang during the performance at all. According to Shia, everybody already knows she can't sing, so now people's expectations are completely changing, and once they switch bodies back, she won't know how to keep up the act anymore. Sion immediately apologizes and promises she won't sing again until they return to their real bodies. But then suddenly, a message pops up on Shia's phone, and the moment Sion reads it, she freezes. Because it's from Song, Shia instantly asks if she talked to him earlier. Sion awkwardly avoids explaining everything that happened between them, which makes Shia even more confused because the last time she saw Song, he could barely tolerate her existence. But now, he's texting her asking if she wants to sing a duet with him. Without wasting even 1 second, Shia grabs the phone and agrees immediately. Then she tells Sion to keep singing so Song falls for her even harder. And Sion is just standing there like, didn't you literally ban me from singing 30 seconds ago? The next day, Shia goes to school while still living in Sion's body. When she opens Sion's locker, she finds a diary inside and decides to read it. As she flips through the pages, her expression slowly changes. The diary reveals everything. Sion wrote about her crush on John, how he rejected and humiliated her because of her weight, and how he and his friends bullied her afterward like it was entertainment. But the worst part? Some entries reveal that Sion sometimes wished she could disappear or even die, just to escape the pain she was dealing with every single day. And suddenly, all of Shia's teasing doesn't feel funny anymore. For the first time in her life, she truly understands how deeply her sister has been suffering over something that was never her fault to begin with. Meanwhile, Sion is back at dance practice. After class ends, she receives a message from Song asking her to meet him on the rooftop. Immediately excited, Sion rushes upstairs to see him. The moment she arrives, Song apologizes sincerely for how cold and rude he treated her before. Of course, Sion has absolutely no clue what he's talking about because technically those arguments happened with Shia, not her. Still, being the sweet person she is, she forgives him anyway. Song looks genuinely relieved. Then he tells her something that completely catches her off guard. He says her voice is too beautiful to keep hiding, and that they should sing together without holding back anymore. As they continue talking, they realize they have a surprising amount in common. And the more Song talks to her, the more drawn to her he becomes. Eventually, he admits that he wants to get closer to her. And then, he hugs her. Sion is internally screaming with happiness because her celebrity crush is literally holding her right now. But at the same time, she feels nervous and guilty, because technically he's confessing all this to Shia's face, not hers. Panicking, she quickly says she has to leave because her manager is waiting for her. Meanwhile, one of Shia's teammates is complaining to the manager nearby because she is jealous that Shia was chosen to sing at the event instead of her. But the manager simply says Shia's voice is much better now, so naturally she got the position. Sion then walks in and notices everyone eating together, so she sits beside them. And once again, everybody looks shocked. Apparently, Shia normally acts too superior to eat with the group. Then the manager hands her food. And it's just a salad. Sion stares at the plate like she's been personally betrayed by humanity. Because unlike Shia, she's used to eating actual meals instead of decorative plebes. Meanwhile, back at school, Shia finishes reading Sion's diary and officially decides she's going full revenge mode on everybody who bullied her sister. As she walks through the halls, she spots the group of girls who used to torment Sion. One of them is staring into a mirror, admiring herself and bragging about how pretty she is. Shia immediately laughs at her mockingly. The girl gets offended and demands to know what's so funny, but Shia ignores her completely like she's beneath her attention. Annoyed, The bully suddenly shoves Shia to the ground, while the others laugh. But this time, things go very differently, because Shia is not Sion. She gets right back up, shoves the girl hard, and even pushes the main bully, too. Then she roasts her by saying she's built like a walking stick figure. When the girl tries to slap her, Shia grabs her wrist and warns her that if she tries it again, she'll regret it. Jon is standing nearby, watching the chaos unfold, and tries stepping in to calm things down. Huge mistake, because Shia turns on him too. She mocks him and says she could never fall for some spoiled mommy and daddy rich kid like him. Then she confidently walks away, leaving everyone completely stunned. The quiet girl they used to bully every day is suddenly fearless, bold, and absolutely done tolerating their nonsense. At the same time, Song is sitting alone scrolling through photos of Shia on his phone, like a man fully down bad already. Clearly missing her, he sends multiple messages asking to meet up. The moment Sion sees the texts, she practically lights up with happiness and rushes to meet him on the rooftop again. And this time, Song finally confesses. He admits that at first he avoided getting close to her because he thought people would assume he only liked her looks. But now, he says he's fallen for her personality, and especially her beautiful voice. Sion feels overwhelmed with happiness hearing those words, but she also hesitates because deep down, she knows he's still looking at her sister's face. Even so, she can hold back anymore. She finally confesses that she likes him too and admits she's had feelings for him for a long time. The two decide to meet after work for a romantic date. But unfortunately for them, one of Shia's jealous friends is secretly hiding nearby, taking photos of everything like a celebrity gossip blogger in training. Meanwhile, Shia is back home with absolutely nothing to do except eat food and be angry. Eventually, boredom wins, so she decides to go for a walk and heads back to the witch's house, hoping she might finally be home. But nope, the witch is still on vacation. After finishing work, Sion meets Song at the studio and together they start planning the duet they're going to perform. And honestly, Sion is living in a full-blown fantasy at this point. A famous idol not only likes her, but wants to sing with her too. The girl is internally screaming every 5 minutes and slowly starts wishing this beautiful version of her life could last forever. Later, the two walk home together holding hands, like the final scene of a romantic K-drama montage. But the second Sion gets home, reality immediately punches her in the face. Because she is sitting in the garden waiting for her, looking bored, annoyed, and emotionally exhausted from living inside Sion's body, where apparently the daily activities consist of eating snacks and staring at walls. The sisters casually ask each other whether anything important happened during the day, but both of them lie. Sion refuses to tell Shia that she's secretly dating Song while using her body, and Shia conveniently forgets to mention that she's been fighting classmates and terrorizing bullies while using Sion's body. At this point, both sisters are basically wrecking each other's lives in completely different ways. Then Shia reminds Sion of something important. Only 15 days remain before the month ends, and they finally return to their real bodies and original lives. The second Sion hears that, her mood completely drops, because she doesn't want this dream to end. She wants to stay beautiful. She wants to keep singing, and more than anything, she wants to stay with Song. The next day, Sion secretly meets Song on the rooftop, so nobody discovers their relationship. Meanwhile, Shia heads to school and continues reading Sion's diary. That's when she learns something heartbreaking. Apparently, Sion once auditioned for a singing and dance competition. But before she could even properly perform, she overheard the judges mocking her appearance behind the scenes. And instead of giving herself a chance, she completely broke down crying and withdrew from the competition. Shia finally realizes something painful. People judge Sion's talent the second they saw her body, without ever bothering to see what she could actually do. Later, Shia notices the school bullies practicing dance together, and honestly, they're terrible. They keep missing steps, forgetting choreography, and moving like confused background NPCs. So naturally, Shia starts laughing at them. One of the girls gets offended, and sarcastically tells her to show them how it's done if she thinks she's so good. Big mistake. Shia immediately accepts the challenge because embarrassing people is apparently her love language. In the moment the music starts, everybody goes silent. She completely destroys the routine. Every move is sharp, graceful, and perfectly controlled. The bullies stare in absolute shock because they cannot believe someone in Sion's body can dance like that. Even Jon is impressed. For the first time ever, he starts genuinely noticing her confidence, talent, and personality. And suddenly, the same guy who used to bully Sion now looks like he wants to get closer to her. Funny how basic human respect suddenly appears once confidence enters the chat. That night, Sion comes home and sees her favorite food waiting on the table. Naturally, she's excited to eat. But Shia immediately stops her and tells her not to ruin her body. That's when Sion realizes something. Shia read her diary, and now she's furious. She yells at Shia for invading her privacy, and the two sisters instantly start fighting again. But then they remember something hilarious. Their bodies are still swapped. So instead of hurting each other directly, they both start smacking their own bodies just to injure the other person. Honestly, this might be the dumbest sibling fight in television history. After the chaos dies down, Sion decides she's done wasting time. She only has 15 days left, so she plans to enjoy every second of this dream life and get even closer to Song before it disappears forever. The next day, she and Song continue filming commercials together. After work, Sion stays behind at the studio to help write lyrics for their duet. While talking, she's shocked to discover something unexpected. Song has actually been following her anonymous radio broadcasts for a long time. He tells her he loves the mysterious girl's voice and has always wanted to meet her. The only problem, she never turns on her camera, so he has no clue what she looks like. The moment Sion hears this, she wants so badly to tell him the truth, to tell him she's been the girl behind that voice all along. But fear immediately stops her. At the same time, Shia is at home messing around on Sion's laptop and accidentally opens the streaming program she uses for her broadcasts. And without realizing it, she accidentally starts a live stream with the camera turned on. Within seconds, all of Sion's followers suddenly see her real face for the very first time. And the internet immediately does what the internet unfortunately does best. Cruel comments start flooding the chat. People mock her appearance, insult her weight, and laugh at her relentlessly. Shia panics and desperately tries turning the camera off, but she can't stop the stream in time. When Sion finally gets home and learns what happened, she's completely devastated. She runs into her room crying, convinced Song must have seen her real face by now and that he'll hate her forever. Holding the magical necklace tightly, she desperately wishes that everybody would forget what they saw. Then she cries herself to sleep from exhaustion and heartbreak. The next morning, she wakes up and checks the internet in panic, and somehow, the live stream is completely gone. Nobody remembers it happened. It's like the entire thing vanished from existence. At first, Sion thinks she's dreaming, but then she realizes something terrifying. The necklace granted her wish. Later at work, she secretly decides to test it again just to make sure. First, she wishes for one of her friend's clothes to rip, and seconds later, rip. Then she wishes for a specific food. Moments afterward, her manager walks in carrying exactly that meal. Now Sion is fully losing her mind because she realizes every wish she makes actually comes true, which sounds amazing, until the consequences arrive. During one performance, Song suddenly forgets the lyrics while singing on stage. Panicking, Sion grabs the necklace and wishes for him to sing perfectly. The wish works instantly, but shortly afterward, she discovers the horrifying truth behind the necklace's power. Every time she makes a wish involving somebody close to her, that person ends up getting hurt afterward. And almost immediately, disaster strikes. News suddenly explodes online claiming Song stole the lyrics to his latest song and is secretly a fraud. The scandal spreads everywhere. When Song sees the headlines, he completely shuts down emotionally and locks himself inside the studio. Sion keeps texting him over and over, but he refuses to answer. So eventually, she goes to see him herself. The moment she finds him, she hugs him tightly and tries comforting him. Song admits he's seriously thinking about retiring from music completely, but Sion refuses to let him give up. She tells him he's talented, that he deserves to keep singing, and that he can't let hateful people decide his future. Then she starts singing with him. Together, they practice the duet they've been preparing side by side. And after they finish, Song quietly thanks her and realizes just how happy he is to have her in his life. Meanwhile, back at school, Sion's former bullies suddenly approach Shia. But this time, they aren't there to insult her. Instead, they awkwardly ask her to teach them dance and promise they'll never bully her again. Honestly, fear and respect really are cousins. Shia is pleased by the sudden personality change and agrees to help them. She starts teaching them choreography, correcting their moves, and helping them improve faster. As the days continue passing, the month finally reaches its end. Shia is thrilled because she's convinced they'll finally get their original bodies back. so the sisters head together to the witch's house. But when they arrive, the witch still isn't back. At that moment, Cyan secretly clutches the necklace and makes another wish. She quietly wishes they won't return to their original bodies just yet, at least not until she finishes the duet with Song, because deep down, she still isn't ready to let go of the life she's always dreamed about. The next day at school, John tries approaching Shia and starting a conversation with her. But Shia coldly shuts him down and tells him to stay away from her completely. Honestly, after everything he did, that rejection was overdue. After school, Shia walks past a restaurant and smells delicious food coming from inside. Eventually, temptation wins. She walks in and starts eating absolutely everything she wants. But while stuffing her face, guilt slowly starts creeping in, because she remembers constantly mocking Sion for lacking self-control around food. And now that she's living in Sion's body, she's doing exactly the same thing. Meanwhile, the Song finally decides to pull himself out of the depression he's been drowning in. He calls Sion and tells her he's going to follow her advice and continue singing. Soon afterward, he holds a press conference explaining that the plagiarism scandal was all a misunderstanding. But unfortunately, things somehow get even messier, because not long after the conference, photos of Song and Sion together start spreading all over the internet. Everybody sees them. Reporters immediately begin asking questions about their relationship, but Song refuses to answer and simply walks away. The second Shia finds out, she completely explodes. She starts screaming at Sion and accusing her of ruining her public image by dating someone caught in a huge scandal. But Sion immediately defends Song and insists he's genuinely kind. Then she finally admits the truth. She says she loves him. Shia just laughs bitterly at her. Then she says something that cuts incredibly deep. If Song ever learns the truth about who she really is, he'll leave her immediately. And honestly, Sion already knows she's probably right. The sisters continue arguing intensely. But then suddenly, Song appears out of nowhere and mistakes Shia for just another angry fan attacking Sion. Without thinking, he shoves Shia hard to the ground. Of course, he has absolutely no idea that the girl he just pushed is actually the real Shia. Sion freezes in shock watching everything happen. And in that moment, reality finally crashes down on her. Song doesn't love the real her. He loves the beautiful face she borrowed. If he ever discovered she was actually the overweight girl behind it all, he probably wouldn't even look at her twice. Completely heartbroken, Sion breaks down crying, because she realizes she's been living inside a fantasy this entire time. When she finally returns home, she grabs the necklace and decides she has to find the witch no matter what. This has gone too far. She needs her real body back. But when she reaches the house, she's hit with another shocking twist. The witch is dead, and now her daughter is living there instead. Desperate, Sion explains everything that happened and begs her to tell her how to return back to normal. The witch's daughter finally explains the truth. The only way for the sisters to return to their original bodies is to hold the necklace and genuinely wish from the bottom of their hearts to go back. And once the wish comes true, the necklace will disappear forever. Sion rushes home and tells Shia everything she learned. Shia is immediately thrilled because she thinks this nightmare is finally over and she'll get her real body back at last. But then, they realize the necklace is missing. Instant panic. The two sisters search everywhere, like detectives in a low-budget crime movie, until they finally manage to find it. Unfortunately, the chaos isn't over yet. Because the second Shia's fans spot them, they immediately surround her asking for selfies, pictures, autographs, and probably blood samples at this point. The sisters barely escape the crowd alive. As they run away laughing together, something unexpected happens. They suddenly start remembering their childhood, how they used to run around together, play together, laugh together, and honestly, for the first time in forever, they actually feel like sisters again, instead of enemies sharing the same house. Little by little, they grow closer and begin spending real time together again. Not fake celebrity time, not body swap, survival time, real sister time. Later, Sion decides to meet Song one last time before returning to her real body. She wants to say goodbye properly. While talking to him, she quietly asks him not to hate her if she suddenly changes one day. Song hugs her warmly and tells her there's no way he could ever hate her. And honestly, that line hurts a little, knowing what's coming next. That night, Sion and Shia hold the necklace together, and both make the wish to return to their original bodies. Then they fall asleep waiting for the magic to work. But the next morning, nothing changed. They're still stuck in each other's bodies. which means one important thing. Neither of them truly wanted to go back from the bottom of their heart. So instead of forcing it anymore, the sisters decide to just keep living each other's lives for now. But fate clearly decides it's tired of waiting. One day, Sion asks Xia to bring her song lyrics from home. While Xia is walking over, she gets distracted and doesn't notice a car speeding toward her. Sion sees what's happening and immediately runs to save her, and in the process, both sisters get hit by the car and lose consciousness. Yeah, this drama really said, let's traumatize everybody one last time. When they finally wake up in the hospital, something feels different. They look at each other and realize they're finally back in their original bodies. The body swap is over, but then Sion notices something even stranger. The doctor standing nearby is actually the witch, the same woman who gave her the necklace in the first place. The witch smiles and explains that her mission is complete. The sisters repaired their broken relationship, understood each other's pain, and learned how to truly love one another again. And with that, she quietly leaves, like a magical therapist who caused emotional damage on purpose. Afterward, Xia decides to clean up the mess that happened while Sion was using her body. She meets Song and honestly tells him she doesn't want to continue any kind of relationship because she doesn't love him. Meanwhile, Sion is out walking her dog when suddenly, John appears in front of her. For once, he actually looks sincere. He apologizes for all the terrible things he did to her in the past and admits that he likes her now. Then he awkwardly asks for her number. Sion gets flustered for a second, but politely rejects him. Because, unlike before, she finally knows her worth. She tells him she already likes somebody else. And yes, she means Song. After that, Sion returns to her normal life. But this time, something inside her has changed. She continues singing and dancing on her online program, only now she's no longer hiding because she hates herself. At the same time, Song suddenly needs a new duet partner after Xia leaves him, so he announces a singing competition to search for the perfect voice. Encouraged by everything she's been through, Sion decides to enter the competition herself. And when her turn finally arrives, she's incredibly nervous. But this time, she doesn't run away. She gathers her courage and starts singing. As her voice fills the room, she remembers every memory she shared with Song. The pain, the happiness, the heartbreak, and the moments that changed her life forever. And because of all those emotions, her performance becomes truly beautiful. The judges are deeply impressed, and Song, he's completely captivated. Her voice feels warm, honest, and emotional, in a way that reaches straight into the heart. Without even understanding why, he feels connected to her somehow. And in the end, he chooses Sion as his duet partner. The two perform together on stage, and Sion feels happier than ever before. Because this time, she's standing beside the person she loves as her real self. Not inside somebody else's body, not hiding behind beauty or magic. Just her real face, her real voice, and finally, somebody who can truly love the real her. With that, Sion finally achieves her dream and begins her journey into the music world. And more than anything, she's grateful for the miracle that completely changed her life forever. And with that, our story comes to an end. But now I want to ask you something. If you had the chance to swap lives with someone for 1 month, would you do it? And do you think they could survive living your life too? Drop your answer in the comments. And also tell me honestly, if you were Song, would you still fall in love with Sion after learning the truth? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications